Thank you for waiting. Thank you for taking the time and joining with us at this press conference of JAMA. First, let me introduce those on the stage. Chairman Akio Toyoda, Vice Chairman Masanori Katayama, Vice Chairman Yoshihiro Hidaka, Vice Chairman Toshihiro Mibe, Vice Chairman Toshihiro Suzuki, Vice Chairman Makoto Uchida, Vice Chairman Koji Sato, Vice Chairman Seiichi Nagatsuka. Those 8 people are on the stage. And first, Chairman Toyoda is going to deliver a few words at the outset.
I am Toyoda. The first Japan Mobility Show closed with a great turnout the other day, thanks to the support and effort of many people. The number of visitors increased by the day, and in the end, we had a total of 1,112,000, which is above our target. Every day, we had about 100,000 visitors. As the organizer, I think we can say this was a successful event. Taking this opportunity, I would like to thank all the visitors and all the stakeholders. Thank you very much. Today, at the Board of Directors meeting, we made a decision on the new JAMA management structure from January of next year, so we would like to report to you on the decision. A major challenge we face are the logistics and commercial fields, including the so-called 2024 issue. In the logistics and commercial fields, there are many topics that require cooperation among all players towards the future, including operation management and energy management, so it is relatively easy to identify the due date. Once the challenge and due date are identified, actions to solve the challenge can be taken. That action will lead to future passenger car and motorcycle initiatives for carbon neutrality. At the BOD meeting, with the understanding that all partners working together to address the urgent challenge of logistics and commercial fields are an important step towards the future, Mr. Katayama of Isuzu, who has rich experience in heavy-duty vehicles, was elected as the next chairman. To represent the full lineup of Japanese manufacturers, the 6 incumbents will continue to serve as vice chairman. And we have 108 JAMA secretariat staff. From January of next year, this team will support Chairman Katayama.
5 years ago, when I became chairman, I told the members of the secretariat the following. You might have been confused every time new chairman came into office. To prevent that, let's create together unshakable pillar as JAMA. JAMA secretariat consists of only 100 people, yet they represent 5.5 million people engaged in automotive industry. So hope that you would share that determination and awareness of your role. In the past 5 years, I would point out that the people in the Secretariat have achieved a major transformation, which was symbolized by the Japan Mobility Show. Automotive industry is run by every one of us, and the future is created by all of us. That became the unshakable pillar of JAMA. I'm going to leave the chairmanship of JAMA. As I was given the 5 years, I believe at least I could contribute to creating the foundation of industry association to separate mobility industry. The world is faced with intensified division and confrontation. Because of that, as adults of today, what can we present and what can we convey to future generations? And that's going to be critical. In Japan, we have such a beautiful phrase of arigato, or thank you. As one of those engaged in mobility industry, for unborn children and the future, let us create together a country where we exchange arigato with each other, supported by a trust and sympathy. I'd like to once again ask for your continued support and understanding to JAMA's initiatives. Thank you very much.
Now, we will hear from Mr. Katayama, the chairman-elect. At the JAMA Board of Directors meeting today, I was chosen as chairman-elect of JAMA, so let me say a few words. First, I feel proud to be elected to this position. On the other hand, the automotive industry is in the midst of a once-in-a-century transformation era. I feel humble to be receiving the Tasuki or baton as chairman. For 5 years since 2018, and for 2 years from 2012 to 2014, Chairman Toyoda led the industry with his strong leadership, and I would like to thank Mr. Toyoda for that. In particular, in decisively pushing forward JAMA reform in recent years, we saw him show excellent leadership on many fronts. We now have a system to work as a team to solve issues with the reform over the past 2 years. We will not stop here. We will evolve this transformation, and we will boldly tackle issues. The new management is committed to this. The auto industry, we can say, will continue to be the most important pillar in the Japanese economy. Our organization is a leading player which supports this industry. However, we are facing new challenges and the era of transformation. The evolution of automotive technology, impact on the environment, and changes in the market are challenges that we face. There are many diverse challenges. In particular, over the past 2 or 3 years, we identified 7 priority issues. We came to the conclusion that the commercial area should be the pacemaker for the time being, because there are many challenges that should be tackled through collaboration. For example, shortage of drivers, improving efficiency of logistics, operation management as seen in the so-called 2024 issue. That is why we now have this new JAMA structure. Our vision is to face boldly the challenges, develop the industry, and contribute to society.
First, we should enhance our contribution to the environment and create a future of sustainable automotive technology and mobility. At JAMA, we have always insisted on the need of multi-pathway, stating that our enemy is carbon, not ICE or internal combustion engine. We believe understanding is steadily taking hold in the world. The activities on carbon neutral reflecting the conditions and unique characteristics of different regions have led to creating new friends and partners. And for instance, we are seeing the advance in the discussion on carbon neutral fuel. In coming 2 years, JAMA is determined to fulfill its responsibility more than ever to conservation of the global environment and improve energy efficiency, spread of EV technologies, among others, in making contribution to the environment. At the same time, our world is transforming very rapidly. New technology and DX, digital transformation, present us the new business model. We need to respond to such a change and transformation by increasing investment into research and development and developing access to the new market, thereby maintaining the competitive edge. Last month, when the first Japan Mobility Show was opened, we saw the more than 1 million guests with the participation by more than 100 startups. In fact, it went beyond the area of conventional mobility or motor show, and in fact, they certainly reflected the expectation from the society and possibility toward the mobility industry. We will strive for increasing our partners and friends from 5.5 million to 8.5 million. Lastly, I'd like to express my heartfelt appreciation to all the industries concerned. Without your cooperation and support, we can never achieve the vision that we identified. I'm looking forward to enhancing auto industry of Japan and create a future. I'm most grateful for your cooperation, and let's create the wonderful future together with you. Thank you.
それではこれより次を
Now we would like to start the Q&A session.
本日は日本自動車工業会助野
This is a press conference for JAMA, so please refrain from asking questions about individual companies. We would like to take as many questions as possible from many people, so please limit the number of your questions to one each. So first, we will take questions from the reporters in this room. If you wish to ask a question, please raise your hand and wait for the microphone to be brought to you. Mention your name and affiliation before the question.
それでは一番前列で
The person on the left, front row. My name is Umeda from TBS TV. Mr. Toyoda, I would like to thank you for your long years of service. You have been working on transformation, which is a major initiative from automotive industry to mobility industry is the transformation that you have been pushing forward. And for you, how will you be involved in the mobility industry in the future? And to Mr. Katayama, you mentioned the 2024 issue as an urgent issue. So in order to solve this issue, what do you think would be necessary?
はい、まず私の方から
Now let me start to answer your question.
この先ほどご挨拶の中でですね
In my presentation, I mentioned 5 years, but actually,
私自身トヨタ自動車の社長になってから
after I took presidency of Toyota, I became vice chairman and served my first term as a chairman, and then I served my second term, so I had a total of 13 years.
今回そのモーターショーから
From motor show to mobility show
お力を借りて
is the transformation that I implemented, and we were able to do that transformation with the support and cooperation of many people.
目の前に今
Making
をしておられる
changes for those who are actually doing the job is something that
自動車産業というのは皆さんご存
is
知のように
not very happy. But as you know, the automotive industry is a global industry, and all companies have gone global.
世界の中で
So in the world,
産業が行われる
the what is the role of the Japanese automotive industry? That role has changed day by day. So the automotive industry has a very strong sensor antenna to that change. So we now have a structure where we can respond to those changes. We now have a foundation for that. But the automotive industry will have to continue to be an essential industry for this country. How to pass the baton was something that I've struggled with over the past 2 years. Who should be the next chairman of JAMA was not the main point. Rather, what is the priority issue for the automotive industry? With the full lineup vice chairman, we had a discussion, and we also had to have discussions with METI. And from various perspectives, we had many discussions, and as a result, we came up with 7 priority topics. So from this full lineup of members, who is the most appropriate person? And the consensus was Mr. Katayama. Now the question was how I will be involved. I am not retiring from the auto industry itself, and I continue to be driver Morizo. So I will, from a driver's perspective, I hope I can carry out activities so that the auto industry will continue to be active. Now, my question, the question to me was about the logistics issue, the 2024 issue. But before I talk about that, I would like to talk about Mr. Toyoda's involvement with the auto industry in the future. One form of Mr. Toyoda's involvement with the auto industry is the chairman of the mobility committee of Keidanren. Keidanren has asked Mr. Toyoda to continue to serve as chairman. So, of course, he understands the auto industry best, and he's the biggest supporter. So, as JAMA, we are looking forward to continue to work with him. So there are 5.5 million in the mobility industry, and it will expand to 8.5 million. So in this area, we would like to continue to work with Mr. Toyoda. Now coming back to the 2024 logistics issue. Diverse countermeasures will be necessary. The 2024 issue is not coming to an end. This is going to be a major logistics issue, especially with a shortage of drivers. So we will have to take solid countermeasures. First, in order to improve the efficiency of logistics data that we have, and the digitalization of the vouchers and documents will have to be standardized and shared. So that would be the first challenge. Through the Connected initiative, we've had a lot of information, but that information was not shared in the past. So now, as the 2024 issue is attracting attention, we would like to push forward on this front. Second, road to the level 4. There's a lot of expectations for automated driving. The government is also pushing that forward. There will be initiatives for expressway driving, so we would like to participate and take initiatives in that area. There are many other challenges as well. We will have to expand the foundation of drivers. For example, more women drivers, creating an environment where women drivers find it easier to work would be one measure that can be considered. For example, for logistics, there are many vouchers or documentation, like work instructions. So that was what I was talking about. Those are not digitalized. And it depends on the company, and we would like to standardize that and digitize that. That is what we are thinking about.
Now, next question, please. Yes. The third from the left on the second row, please. Kondo of Asahi Shimbun newspaper. About the new structure. I understand this will take effect in January, but the term itself would expire in May. So, What's the significance of starting new structure in January and the supporting structure would be developed? Well, Toyota, Nissan, Honda, those three companies used to serve as chair. And now Mr. Katayama from Isuzu is going to be the next chairman, and therefore, what kind of backup structure are you thinking to support him?
はい、まず、
Yes,
新体制
about the new structure, the new organization that will take effect in January.
私の気持ちは今日から
I
立ちをする
feel,
感覚でございます。
or
で、
my feeling is that I'm actually passing the baton to Mr. Katayama. Well, about a year ago,
私自身が属するトヨタ自動車の
at Toyota Motor Company, when I became chairman of the Toyota Motor Company, GMC,
会というのは、執行トップで
the
また CEO レベルの方々
JAMA executive board should consist of the executive management of the industry. And that's what I proposed some time ago, and that was agreed on. And therefore,
会長になり
now that I'm a chairman of GMC, for me to continue to serve in the chairmanship of JAMA, that may not be quite convincing, and therefore, I requested for leaving this post, and then I was retained for another year after that the statement, and during that time,
日本の自動車産業のフルライン体制で
the full lineup of automotive industry of Japan is there with the vice chairmen, and in fact there are a wide variety of the full line automotives, starting from the motorcycle, the commercial vehicles, passenger vehicles, as well as heavy duty cycles, and that's the strength of the Japanese automotive industry. Now we have case technology and other technologies that are brought about by transformation once in a century in automotive industry in Japan, and therefore, considering the strength and advantage that is held by particular person or people, we discuss in depth that the people who have such an advantage or strength should take over. So therefore, rather than switching to a new structure in May, as we are going to open up the new page of the new calendar, in 2024, especially in the field of logistics, when 2024 is highlighted with various issues to be resolved, I thought it is better to start new structure to cope with the such issues that are identified with this year. That's why we decided to launch a new structure for 5.5 million people that are engaged in auto industry. For all of them, that would give them the sense of security as well as trust, and therefore, this is something that we discussed extensively with the top management of JAMA, and hope that you would kindly understand the decision that we came about. After the Tokyo Motor Show, the reform and transformation of JAMA was promoted to a great extent. We have a chairman and vice chairman, and those people used to be selected out of the OEMs representing passenger cars or four-wheel cars, but then we decided to seek for other candidates, and also we thought of the forum as the place for discussion, debate. So far, the several people representing each companies were there, but now we decided that instead of having 30 members in the board, we have invited just one from each OEM or company. So in the past, discussion tended to be quite ending up with formality, but in fact, I would say that now this has become a place of exchange of candid views and opinions. We are competitors at the same time, and also realize the need for the looking into the opportunity for collaboration, cooperation seriously, and the foundation for such a dialogue was created. And there are about 300 functions, and then we reorganize them according to the functions and roles. Instead of 12 committees, it is now 5, and 30 workshops instead of 55. And thus, with a slim organization reporting directly to the executive board, we believe governance has been strengthened. With those efforts, now we have selected 7 themes, and each vice chairman will determine the leader of each theme, and then there will be the committee or subcommittee that will be reporting to those themes. And therefore, in such a way, the JAMA itself is going to be operated with the participation by full lineup, and therefore, that whenever you realize that something is different from what you thought, please point them out. We welcome your feedback. We want to enhance and strengthen the competitive edge of Japan, and for that, we hope that the auto industry be fully utilized. And 5.5 million employment are secured in this industry, and when auto industry is transformed into mobility industry, this would increase to 8.5 million and eventually to 10 million. That is to create more employment opportunities. And I believe this is the best industry that can meet that requirement. And therefore, under the leadership by new chairman, Mr. Katayama, with all the vice chairman's support, hope that you would continue to watch how JAMA is going to develop various initiatives. And we welcome your support and understanding. Thank you. Anything else that you'd like to add? Yes, a chairman has just explained what is meant there. Put it differently, in my words, I would say that I am from the OEM that produces commercial vehicles, and the fact that I become the chairman, that itself symbolizes the change and transformation of JAMA, as Chairman Toyoda just mentioned. We asked him to stay in his post, but then we came to experience a major impact that led to the serious discussion among us about how we can make this industry sustainable. We concluded when we need teamwork, and then the second, there are 7 themes. They are clearly identified, and now we identify the ownership and what we need to do. They're clearly defined, and therefore, if that's the case, then although I represent the commercial vehicle manufacturer, I believe I can serve as a chairman with the support by other vice chairmen. That's why I accepted this request.
Now, any other questions? Third one from the right in the third row. My name is Nishigori from Nikkan Kogyo Shimbun. So from next year onwards, the team structure where the chairman and vice chairman work together. How do you intend to develop that structure from next year onwards? So that's why we identified the 7 priorities. I won't go into the 7 priorities here again, but we have continued to talk about the 7 priorities, 7 challenges. So please take interest in that. You are from Nikkan Kogyo. So if you can please study those 7 priorities, even if the person responsible changes.
Next question, please. Microphone is not on. Sugito of Chunichi Shimbun newspaper. Mr. Toyoda, I have a question. Looking back the past 5 years, you have seen major change, transformation in Secretariat, and that was symbolized or culminated into Japan Mobility Show. which ended with the turnout of 1.1 million. What was the success factor of the first Japan Mobility Show? If you can tell us about the keys to the success, and now, Mr. Katayama, Chairman Toyota always stated that we should hold a place in the event where we can discuss extensively about the industry, like Japan Mobility Show. What is your view on that?
はい。
Thank you.
今回ですね、約70年間続いてきました東京モーター
Tokyo Motor Show used to be maintained for 70 years, and now it is renamed as Japan Mobility Show
第1回目を開催
with a new concept.
モビリティショーになって
And that's how the first Japan Mobility Show
超えて
was opened.
産業や
Beyond the boundary of auto industry, together with other sectors and startup companies, for creation of future mobility, we made a first step forward. On the part of JAMA, as I explained earlier, I believe the event ended with great success.
111万人
We had more than 1.11 million turnout,
その中でも未来は
and
企業で作れる
in fact, our future is not created by a single company. In fact, this is going to be created by the industries and across different sectors. And to that,
社の参加企業
500 companies that they joined in this event, and this is about 2.5 times more than 2019, when we had about the 192 companies that joined Tokyo Motor Show. And then we had the 100 startups that joined us there.
は協力企業数が
And Tokyo Future too, we had
4年前に
collaborating companies.
44社だった
There were 44 back in 2019. At this time, it was 200.
加えまして
In addition to that,
スタートアップ企業のですね
among startups,
商談みたいな形が
there were
430件
commercial deals, business deals
行われています
of more than 430
モーターショーの
that took place, the business talks.
プレミアムを出す
The back in Tokyo Motor Show, it was an event to introduce the new world premium. In addition to such an interest, this time, this became the opportunity to start creating the new story for the future.
随分ご活用いただけたんじゃない
So I believe for that purpose as well, the Japan Mobility Show was utilized by those concerned, and with more than 1 million people visiting or 100,000 per day, that was quite significant.
100万人
And that
というのは
think of the event that gathers more than 1 million people. That could be Tokyo's, or rather, the senior high school summer baseball tournament
自分が
and Japan Mobility Show. So this is the opportunity for the people to share their interest, share their research and development themes, and so on. That gathered more than 1 million people who could be potential users. So with their own words, we were given the opportunity to explain about what we are planning, what we want to do. That attracted that many people, therefore, that make them feel that they were part of the future creation.
その部分とかあれは
So
継続してやったらいいですよね
this is something that we'd like to maintain toward the future. And that's what I'm suggesting.
片山
And hope that
抱負を
we can hear from Mr. Katayama about what he's planning to do.
会長になってませんので
Well, I'm not the new chairman yet,
個人的に
so this is going to be my personal view.
やはり今回のモビリティショーはですね
At the Japan Mobility Show this time, this ended with great success.
に至るまでは大変
But the path toward Japan Mobility Show that was fraught with various issues,
な成功だったんです
the endeavors and hardships.
彼の成功だったと
But then it ended up with great success, despite such hardships. Therefore, put it differently,
ショーということで打ち出して
mobility show instead of motor show,
中が求めてたんだなっていう自分の
that's what exactly the society and the community were looking for. Their desire and expectation was met with by the Japan Mobility Show. We had more than 100 the startups, and also there were a series of talk shows, many of them dealing up with the serious themes. And in my case, I discussed robotics, and there were standing audience as well. The
まさにこれ今世の中
because there were more than the seats available, and therefore I felt that these were the shows and events that were exactly sought after by the people in the society and in the world. And with expectation and excitement that high, do we meet again 2 years from now? That will not be a deal, and therefore, in fact, in a team, we have to discuss what we can do next and at what timing, whether JAMA alone can do it or whether we would seek for cooperation with Keidanren and other organizations, associations concerned. We would like to make various suggestions, proposals. Once that excitement has been enhanced to such a great extent, all the members and the board are willing to continue such activity. So the question is how to do it. Thank you.
Today, we have people participating online too. So here, we would like to take questions from the online participants. So if you wish to ask a question, please wait for your name to be called and mention your name and affiliation before your question. Please use the raise hand button on the screen. To Kiarashi-san. So once you see your face on the screen, please start asking your question. Can you hear me? Yes. My name is Kiarashi from Newspicks. I have a question to Mr. Toyoda. One question. Since 2018, you've been serving as chairman. So in terms of JAMA press conference, after the government issued the carbon neutral statement in 2020, you had a press conference, and I was very impressed by that. And even after that, you said that the enemy is carbon and not ICEs. And you also talked about multi-pathway and also talked about the 5.5 million people who are pushing forward vehicles. So, and since 2018, I think you've seen a lot of criticism from the general society, but as a spokesperson of the 5.5 million in the industry, what was the message that you wanted to communicate most, and how much do you think that message was conveyed and understood? So since the carbon neutrality declaration, I've mentioned that I am not a person who has a special talent or make special predictions, but I think I made my utmost efforts. So what I've been talking about is that there are 5.5 million in the industry, and there are people who are enjoying the benefits of mobility. So the convenience and the difficulty, the reality, how can the reality be solved and lead us into the future? So we faced the reality up front, and that is why I mentioned those things. And at this year's G7, before any other country in the world, the Japanese government talked about multi-pathway, so it has changed. And also, the general environment in society has changed. What is important is that the general users, and depending on the energy situation of each country, has a perception of tackling global warming. For that, each country, each company will have to focus on what they can do now, utilizing their advantages. The automotive industry in Japan is a full lineup industry, and all the companies are competing globally. On the other hand, There are 1 billion people in the world who do not have electricity, but there are companies that are providing mobility to those countries.
で3億頭の牛を活用し
And utilizing 300 million cows, let's move 30 million cars is what some of the companies are working on.
どうモビリティが
So
今後も
how can mobility continue to be used for the transformation of the future? That is what I wanted to convey most.
と言われたり
Unfortunately, there were some people who say that
遅れると言われたり
we are lagging behind by a full lap or we are obsolete. But
やはり
what pushed me forward was
いろんな形で
the 5.5 million people with whom I've came in contact at the Gemba. And
見ていただいています
And I think many reporters have seen those gembas.
なかなか伝わらなかった現実
But what I've seen at those gembas
非常に残念でも
were not fully conveyed to the general public, which I think was unfortunate.
時間もかかり
It takes time to change things,
変化をすればいいというもの
and change should not come about at the sacrifice of somebody. A future should be created by everybody, and in order to implement change, we have to think about speed as well.
今まで過去現在において
In the past and now,
本当に人生をかけて
there are
関わってい
people
ただいた方が
who are placing their lives on the automotive industry. And as chairman of JAMA and as a car manufacturer, I don't want a future where there is no place for them in the future.
今皆さんも中心に進み始めたので
But
本当に感謝
there is now starting to be an understanding
我々は
being created now. And with the perspective of the user and market,
役に立つか
how can our technology be used? How can our technology be used for the future? That is what we have in mind now. So, including encouragement, please continue to support us. That is all from my side. Thank you very much.
続きまして山本慎也様お願いいたします
Next, Shinya Yamamoto, please.
ご自身の画像が映りましたらご発言よろしくお願いいたします
Please start stating your question once your face is on the screen.
声が入ってます
すいませんちょっと
You are
音声が
muted.
届いていないようですが
Mr. Yamamoto, you are muted. Can you hear me? Yes.
今回、新会長のお話はいろいろ今聞けたんですけれども、
Well, we heard the various remarks made by new chair. What about new vice chairs? If I can ask new vice chairs to share with us their views. Thank you.
ありがとうございます
Thank you.
45分間何もせずに終わるのかなと思って
I wondered whether I could keep silent during 45 minutes, but I'm delighted to have this opportunity to take the floor. Chairman Toyoda and Vice Chairman Katayama already explained about the thoughts behind the new structure and so on. Therefore, I believe now that the team is created in such a way so that we can work together. So even in a small way, I hope that I can make a contribution in supporting new Chairman Katayama so that JAMA can really work on those 7 priorities and come up with the actual consequences. And for each priority, who is going to be in charge, that's already identified, and therefore that person is going to be the leader, take an initiative. JAMA is a place for information exchange and dialogue. I know that various issues are they intertwine with each other in such a complicated manner, and therefore, through coordination, hope that we can make a move forward.
ジャパンモビリティショー先ほどですね豊田会長が
Mr. Toyoda mentioned about Japan Mobility Show. In conjunction with that, he had a hard time in gaining support from the mass media about the Weather Japan Mobility Show. I felt the warm support that was generated from mass media as well. Hope that you would continue to watch our industry with great interest. Thank you.
新旧会長がいろいろ話し
Thank you very much. And on my part, me best speaking, and now that we heard from new and former chairman, well, mobility that used to be classified according to two-wheel cars or four wheels and heavy duty and so on. But beyond that framework, how we could be competitive in the world, for instance, the vehicle for carrying people or goods and technology for connectivity and autonomous driving are there. Connectivity that is related to customers at the same time. It could be connected to the society itself, or it could be for the public transit industry and the mobility in different ways that will be connected in a seamless fashion so that new world of mobility will eventually change the structure of the society itself. So with that grand design, for Mr. Katayama, who is the top management of the OEM producing trucks or heavy-duty cars, but rather than that, we have spent several months identifying who is the best person to lead the new initiatives. This discussion was taking place among vice chairmen, and then we decided on Mr. Katayama. On my part, we believe that this time of changes, the transformation, is at the same time a good opportunity for us, and therefore we should take a lead in transformation at JAMA, and therefore including those related sectors. We want to be the one to be the torch bearer in bringing about the new transformation, and we'd like to strongly promote various activities. Thank you.
では次、鈴木さん。
Next is Suzuki-san, please. JAMA is now united in such a way to increase competitive edge of the Japanese industry, and at the same time making contribution to solving environmental challenges. To that end, I'd like to support in any way that I can do in supporting the new chairman, Katayama. Uchida-san? In fact, everything I wanted to say has been already covered by others. What's important is that the world is also changing. So is the business environment that we are in. So under such circumstances, how can we go beyond the boundary of different sectors to seek for cooperation, coordination, collaboration for that matter, to advance Japan and its competitive edge? With a strong leadership by the chairman and a collaboration with the directors and the board members, and also with the government, JAMA as industry association, we need to create opportunities for cooperation, collaboration. And in fact, as we have seen at Japan Mobility Show, how can we change the life of the people? We have a social responsibility, including securing jobs of people engaged in. We have to respond to those challenges seriously with agility. Now we are coming to the moment of the truth, and with the determination, we would commit ourselves to that end, and hope that you would also recognize that JAMA is the improving or making a positive change. Thank you. Now, Saito-san, in fact, what Mr. Toyoda has been working on and changing the development that really bear fruit in JAMA, it has been activated in such a way. I serve as vice chairman for a short period of time, and I realized that the dialogue among vice chairmen is so candid and frank that that's a testament to the creation of the foundation made by him. And now I have an opportunity to interact with Mr. Katayama either under duty or after duty, and I realize that he has such a passion and enthusiasm in working on various activities and initiatives. And therefore, as a part of the team, I hope to continue to support him. Nagatsuka-san? First, Mr. Toyoda, I am most grateful for your major contribution made in leading JAMA's activities, including the reform of JAMA, especially the importance of multi-pathway toward carbon neutral is what you have emphasized both within and outside of Japan, and that even affected the global opinions. And Tokyo Motor Show has made a full model change into Japan Mobility Show. In fact, you let the activities go beyond the boundaries of different sectors. That was not achievable if not or without Mr. Toyota. Looking at the environment surrounding us, as other members stated, we are faced with serious challenges globally. We see that EVs and battery cars are being invested and locked up through efforts by both public and private sectors in different markets. That's what we are seeing, and therefore, as the pivotal industry of Japan, hope that the auto industry would continue to work together in a team, also through collaboration with other sectors as well. Now that the foundation was created by Mr. Toyota for the reform of mobility industry and transformation of mobility industry, together with Mr. Katayama and other vice chairmen, we hope that we would continue to strive for the goal that we have identified. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will turn to this room again, but I have to say that because time is limited, we can only take 2 more questions. Yes, please. The person at the front. My name is Okinaga from Nihon Keizai Shimbun. This question goes to Mr. Toyota. So you now have a new chairman from Isuzu, but Isuzu has an investment in Toyota, so it's part of the Toyota group. So in that sense, that may be that your intent may be reflected. Now, you decided not to choose from Honda or Nissan. You talked about not being swayed by these companies, but was that part of your decision? I wasn't sure about the intent of your question, but capital structure is not what we have in mind when we have discussions. It's not just about capital, but what we look at is the future of cars and the future of stakeholders. How do these OEMs create that? And in Japan, as has been mentioned before, we have so many companies doing motorcycles, mini, heavy-duty passenger cars. So Nikkei might think that passenger car companies are wonderful, but motorcycles, mini, heavy-duty, all companies are formed of wonderful people, and that is why we have the auto industry in Japan as it is now. So as a result of expanding the options, and as a result of the vice chairman repeating heated discussions, these are the topics that should be discussed for competitiveness of Japan. This is what we have to discuss to lead the transformation of Japan. So we chose the topic, and then we chose the chairman. So that was the process that we followed. So please listen to our statements, and please look at what we've done in the past without any bias, and please see for yourself. Thank you very much.
This is going to be the last question. Person, the second from the right on the first row, from this side. The female journalist. Kawakami of Nikkei, thank you very much. It's different than new structure in the United States. UAW strike was a major focal point, and now we are seeing the movement toward raising wages. And I believe the U.S. is an important market for Japan. what's the impact as a result of the increase in cost and also about the EV market? I think the U.S. market is also now facing a turning point. If you can comment on that. Maybe too early to comment on, but the major difference between Japan versus United States is that UAW is the labor union that is formed within the industry, while as in the case of Japan, they are formed within companies, enterprises, and every year, the management of the company is engaged with negotiation with the labor union, and despite different the positions for the development of auto industry and for improvement, both sides they're engaged in dialogue, and every year we identify issues, and some of the issues could be resolved as a result of discussion, sometimes not, but that's the practice of the employment relationship in Japan, the labor employment relationship. Having said that, though, the members of the union represent about 30%. Remaining 70% don't have an opportunity for dialogue, but given the inflation, rising prices, the wage hike is essential. Otherwise, their living standard would be going down further. For Japan and for auto industry, how can we better reflect their voice? And that's what we are concerned about. And on the part of OEMs, looking at UAW, and that's the union within the sector. But aside from that, we are different from that. In fact, our unions are formed within each enterprises, and then there are 70 people that are not accessible to such a dialogue opportunities. So for them to be engaged in the auto industry in Japan, how can we make them happier? That's what we are striving for. Hope that you would kindly understand that situation, and hope that you would make effective coverage about those people so that their voice could be heard. Well, if this is the last question, the press conference may not be ending with the good ending. So may we take one more question?
Thank you very much. My name is Okamura from Automotive News. So it's immediately after the Japan Mobility Show, and I'm sorry I'm asking about the next one. Japan Mobility Show is going to be more or less like the mobility version of the Davos meeting. At the Mobility Show, 3 overseas OEMs and many overseas parts manufacturers came. But next time, will there be more overseas startups participating? So you called it a mobility version Davos meeting. So what kind of initiatives are you going to take, or what kind of messages are you going to send out? So when we had the motor show, how many vehicles will world premiere and be introduced to the market? That was one major role of the show. The Japanese market for overseas manufacturers was not very attractive marketing-wise. But this time, BMW, BYD, Mercedes have participated. So rather than world premiere, as you mentioned, the Davos portion, or talking about the future of mobility, is something that we told the journalists and the media. So we had that discussions with the media. So through your reports, that message was sent out globally. And with it, a new value, not just world premiere, but using this as a forum to have discussions or incorporating your views in the discussions If that can be achieved at the show, I think the interest from overseas will deepen. At the mobility show, the vice chairman took the podium and talked with many people in other industries. There's an archive of those discussions that took place. And so maybe you can write an article to dig deeper in the discussion that took place. So I hope we can continue to have the support and cooperation of media people.
ありがとうございました。それでは
Thank you very much.
でございますので大変恐縮
Time is up. Therefore, with this, I'd like to close press conference.